So good morning everybody, it's wonderful to be here. My name's Teagan and I'm a solicitor apprentice studying my LLB in law as an online student at the University of Law, but I'm also a BAME advocate. So I'd firstly like to thank all the organisers of the conference for allowing the University of Law to do a lightning talk today, and I'm really excited to share my experience as a BAME advocate in general and to introduce the employability project. So this is an example of a longer term project that the BAME advocates were involved in. So we collaborated with staff at the university to organise a project for the benefits of students from diverse backgrounds. Could I have the next slide, please? So just to do a brief overview of today's presentation, firstly, I will introduce the BAME Advocate Scheme at the University of Law. Then we'll have the main part of the session, which is outlining the employability projects, its aims, preparation and delivery. Then we will discuss how the BAME Advocates prepared the employability project and what was delivered to the students. And lastly, a discussion of what we felt the key outcomes of this project was, leaving time for any questions to be answered by my supervisors. Next slide, please. So the BAME Advocate Scheme was introduced in April 2020, and it's a part-time role paid for by the university, and only current University of Law students can be considered for the role. So the main purpose of the role is to support and empower Black, Asian and minority ethnic students across all the courses and campuses at the University of Law, including online. So BAME students are classed as students that self-identify as any ethnicity other than white British, and this role provides us with the opportunity to gain valuable work experience, leadership skills, as well as developing a professionalism, respect for others and social awareness. So this role fits around our studies, and our hours of work are flexible to allow us to prioritise our study. Each week we're sent an email listing all our current projects that we can get involved in and help to mould. So as you can see from the list on the screen, there are a wide range of projects, and the projects have been extremely varied. They've had different positive outcomes for the BAME Advocate Scheme, other students and just for the university in general. Next slide, please. So this is the employability project. And this is an example of a longer term project that has been led by the BAME Advocates at the University of Law, where both students and staff have worked together. So it involved 8 advocates reviewing the employability sessions run by the university's employability team and developing 3 new sessions that will be delivered to fellow students. Could I have the next slide, please? So the initial task was to access the employability sessions that were already available to the students and identify what areas we felt were missing or needed improvement. Following a group discussion, the general consensus was that although a lot of the content was beneficial to students with regards to work opportunities, careers advice and tips for entering the legal industry, students didn't often know the information was there or even know how to access it. Importantly, we also found that there were no sessions that were aimed solely for BAME students, and despite BAME students having more obstacles to face at university and in the workplace, we felt that this was key. So a key part of our role as BAME advocates is to help the university address the attainment gap between BAME students and white British students at university, and to further understand the issues faced by BAME students on their courses and beyond, and to guide the university's policy and practices so that it helps BAME students reach their maximum potential. So this lack of careers advice for BAME students specifically was something that was quickly identified and we decided that we needed to work on. A further aim was to ensure that the podcasts were engaging and well attended. We wanted to achieve this through a podcast style discussion between representatives of the group and speakers, and through marketing the session in new ways. This would hopefully increase the accessibility of the employability scheme and diversify the career sessions available to students from BAME backgrounds. Next slide, please. So next is delivery. The main element of this project was creating and delivering employability sessions to students. We divided ourselves into 3 smaller groups to focus on 3 separate sessions. All sessions aim to provide useful careers advice to BAME students, but the first focused on first and second year law students, the second focused on opportunities for final year law students, and the third focused on postgraduate law students and those due to enter the legal workplace. The group agreed that the conversational podcast style sessions between 2 or more speakers would ensure that the students were engaged throughout. We aim to source external speakers from the legal industry that could give a greater insight into the careers in law and the potential challenges faced by BAME individuals. We plan sessions of up to an hour, researching statistics about BAME attainment and the lived experiences in the legal field, as well as liaising with practicing lawyers and creating visual aids. Some BAME advocates use platforms such as Canva to create bold marketing materials, which we use to promote the sessions. We also worked alongside the employability team at the university to get feedback on the sessions and to gain further support in delivering the sessions when necessary. The external speakers we sourced came from a range of different backgrounds and different levels of seniority within the legal field. The live sessions were attended by just over 50 students and they remain accessible as recorded sessions on the university website. Next slide, please. So, key outcomes. The sessions enhance the accessibility and inclusiveness of the career service available to students. Through identifying areas for improvement, the BAME advocates could plan and coordinate employability sessions that were relevant and beneficial to students from a BAME background. Tied to this is the second outcome. The content of the sessions benefited BAME students in particular, providing them with key information about the current issues with diversity on law courses and in practice, but also about work experience opportunities and guidance on how to improve their career prospects. The sessions also provided students with real-life examples of the different additional challenges they may face, but also positive role models in the industry and information on how to access further opportunities. BAME advocates who are also BAME students worked alongside the university to identify areas for improvement and implement effective solutions. The project is a clear example of how student and staff collaboration can lead to positive outcomes for students who are traditionally unrepresented. It also provides other institutions with an effective model, bringing students into a position where they can implement university policy and practices and have the opportunity to contribute to ideas is extremely beneficial to further university understanding of issues and challenges that they face. Could I have the next slide, please? So thank you for listening and please feel free to ask any questions.
Beautifully timed. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Teagan. That's great. Bav, I don't know if there are any questions coming through in the chat box. I've certainly got one I'd like to start with, if I may.
Of course.
Teagan, I was really interested in, frankly, that kind of idea of using podcasts and collaborate, and some people listening live and some people presumably listening on catch up. Is that I know presumably that was done because of lockdown and other things as well, but is that something you think helps you to reach the kind of students you want to reach?
Yes, definitely. And because my course, regardless of COVID, is online, it's been really helpful for me because a lot of the time I can't access some of the sessions because they're in the day when I tend to be at work. So by having recorded podcast sessions, it means that I can come home at night and watch it while I'm eating my dinner, or I can watch it in the morning before work. So it kind of adds that flexibility element to allow us to be able to still be included and gain that information, but just whenever we can.
Thank you very much. Bev, was there anything else?
No, there are no other questions at the moment.
Well, I'll chair's privilege then. Just one final question from me. I think you talked about becoming aware both of the challenges around, I think you called it attainment, and also learning about the lived experiences of through your advocates. I just wonder what's more useful. Is it better to hear about lived experiences of people who are succeeding, or look at the data, which might bluntly be a little bit depressing?
So I think that sometimes you do have to see that data to kind of put things into perspective and understand that there is a very clear gap in the legal industry for BAME students. But it is also really positive to hear the success stories and to see lawyers and barristers within the legal field that look like me or speak like me or is very similar to me. So I think you have to have the balance between the two to understand, okay, this is the problem that we face, but on the other hand, you know, there are people that have done it and there is no reason why I can't do it. So I think it is really helpful to have both sides of the spectrum.
Thank you, Teagan. That's a beautifully measured answer. You should be a politician. Well done. I mean, that's a compliment. Bev, I think Catherine had a question as well. I wonder if we can just squeeze it in very quickly.
Yes, so the question is, to what extent are your sessions also highlighting opportunities associated with progression to postgraduate research study?
I could take that if you want, Teagan.
Yes,
so essentially quite a lot of our sessions focus directly on our current students and looking into the world of work. So although we do have other courses in terms of postgraduate courses, including the GDL, and which is changing now, we don't necessarily focus on research because we are the University of Law, and majority of our courses are focused on sort of law, policing and criminology.